Hi there, and thank you for tuning in. Today I want to see if I can give you some comfort with your Nikon D700 in terms of the megapixels. You can get cameras, of course, today with many more megapixels than the 12 you find in the D700. For instance, you can get the D750 with 24. You can get the Sony A7R II that I'm recording this on. That one has, I believe, 42 megapixels, and then you can go to medium format and get even more. You can get crazy. You can get hundreds, I think, of megapixels if that is to your liking. But I want to show you that you can actually print what I would consider to be pretty large with just 12 megapixels. So let me get started, and I want to show you two pictures that I've taken and the prints that I've made. Let me start out by saying I am no expert when it comes to printing. I have companies that do that for me. I don't know anything about printers, printing technology, what's good, what's bad, what to do, what not to do, and all of that. I simply don't know. So if that's your hope to get out of this video, you may as well stop now. I will only talk about megapixels and what that looks like when you sort of blow it up in big scale. So the first print I want to show you is right here. It's a sort of a prototype we made for a client. They wanted it to be printed on wood, meaning MDF, which is, I had to look that up, that's medium density fiberboard. It's like, a piece of wood, but I think it's made in an artificial way by little pieces of wood they glue together. And that's actually so it's quite heavy. I'll see if I can lift it. So here it is. Please meet King Frederick VII, or at least a picture of him, or a picture of his head, or a picture of a statue of his head. Then we're very precise, right? But I wanted to show you this picture because this is shot with a Nikon D700 and 12 megapixels. And it's even cropped because this is 1 meter across and 80 centimeters downwards. And if you don't like the metric systems, I can inform you that's 3.3 feet across and 2.6 down. So it's pretty big, if you ask me. So the reason why I chose this picture as a prototype was because I really like the way the statue stands out. You have a lot of compression going on here, and you have a lot of background blur as well. So I shot this with the 180 millimeter lens. So a very good question, I guess, is why exactly this format? Why exactly this MDF? And why in black and white? And the simple answer is this is what the client asked for. So we made this as a prototype to show the client this is what your print would look like. They actually did not choose this picture. That's why I have this prototype still. They chose 8 other pictures, and I will revert to that. But I hope you can see, even though I'm sitting very close to this picture, I don't think there's any issues with, me seeing the pixels or anything. I will show you this in a close-up as I'm talking here. And also you can see down here, there's a little spider web. And that is beautifully shown here, very crystal clear. And in fact, I'm not missing any details at all whatsoever. 12 megapixels, there you are. I'm sure that I'll just take this one down because it's pretty heavy. Okay, so my thinking is, and this is actually inspired by James Popsis, because if you see this picture, this is the same picture. I'm just showing you a print that I made on my small black and white printer. And if you were to look at this picture, right, you wouldn't look at it like this unless you had my eyes and had forgotten your glasses, right? If you were to take the picture in like this, that would be like watching a tennis game, right? Your eyes would be sort of all over the place and you couldn't really take it in. So what you naturally do when you watch something is that you take it back to, a viewing angle where you can see the entire picture, right? So that is actually what happens when the larger you print, the more you want to push it back. And I'm sure you have been waiting for the bus standing next to a billboard or a large print sometime. And there you can actually see maybe the details and say, hey, that's not a very fine resolution. But actually, if you step back and take in the entire picture, then that is no longer an issue actually. And that's my point with this, is that the larger you print, the further away you want to stand from the picture, and therefore 12 megapixels is more than enough. And whatever details that you see here when you're very, very close to the picture, all of that will disappear as you move further away. It will sort of blend together on its way to you. So I don't think it's an issue, and I think 12 megapixels is actually more than enough. And even on this one, I have cropped a lot, actually in the sides here, because a full frame sensor is 3:2. So when you do 10:8, you have to crop in the sides in order to make it fit. But the only argument that I can think of why you would want to step up in terms of megapixels would be if you need to crop. And that's fair, because if you need to crop, then of course you lose a lot of detail, and that can be an issue. I also want to share with you this print here. This is a canvas, so it's much, much lighter. There's a frame here. Yeah, I don't know, it's this thick, I think. That's the frame here. Maybe I can just show you the back so you can see it. That's easier. You see that's a wooden frame. Otherwise it's canvas, so it's super light. Let me just see if I can get it so you can see it. And actually the idea here is that you have something here that's very, very sharp, and then you have the background that's very blurred. And I think it works, and sometimes you get surprised when you see your own prints, because I think in large scale this actually works better than it does when you see it on the screen. I don't know why that is, but I can just say that this picture in real life is surprisingly good, whereas on the screen, I mean, I wouldn't have picked it, to be quite honest, but one of my clients did, and I hope she will be happy with this print. And I actually quite impressed that she could see the potential of this picture, because the print is so much better than what I see on the screen. I didn't see this coming. But again, you can see here that you have a lot of detail, and even though I go very, very close to and look at these details that are here, I don't miss any resolution. I don't see any pixels or anything. So, I mean, again, I think this is a big print, and you have plenty of pixels in your 12 megapixel sensor. And if I've got the idea I wanted to print this even bigger, well, it's the same story. Then I would watch it further away. So that's my point, and I don't really think that people, watch pictures like this. You naturally step back to take it all in. That's my point. Another interesting point is that the first client I mentioned here with the king, the picture here they didn't choose. I actually shot 500 pictures, believe it or not, for that client alone. And I asked them to pick the ones they liked. They picked eight of them. And the interesting part is that even though I shot half of them with the Nikon D700 and the other half with other cameras, the D750, Fuji X-T3 and Fuji X-T20, even though I shot basically half and half, what they selected, 6 out of the 8 they actually selected was shot with the Nikon D700. And that tells me, now this is not a scientific test, because I shot at different days with different lighting. It was ambient lighting. So you can't really conclude anything firm from that in terms of the direct head-to-head comparison. But I think you can conclude that the D700 still today, this is December 2020, still today is right up there with modern cameras and can compete with those with no problem. And I think it comes down to the issue that the quality of the individual pixel and how precisely it has recorded the light, that is so much more important than the number of pixels. And that's why I think that, I don't know exactly where the sweet point is, but there must be some point where, provided you don't crop, that the additional resolution really doesn't do anything for the picture, because it just adds detail that you have no use of, because you, as I say, take in a picture from a distance. Okay, so that's actually it from me. That was what I planned to say. I hope this is December 2020 and we're close to Christmas. So if you are suffering with gas syndrome, or you're sitting with your Nikon D700 thinking, oh, I should upgrade, I need more megapixels, my advice to you is you don't. Spend some time on upgrading yourself, studying other photographers first, taking some training, whatever it fits you. But there's no need to upgrade your camera, especially if you don't plan to crop. Then I would say the Nikon D700, still today, December 2020, is right up there with all the others. So there you have it, as always. Thank you for watching. Take care these crazy days, and see you soon.